Beep beep everybody, hope you're all having a great day. Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Here we are at Rollermills Marketplace. This is an antique mall in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, located on 517 St. Mary Street. This building used to be a flour mill back in when it first was built. They also made animal feed for a while, I think in the 1980s, and then it was empty and some businessmen took it over and turned it into an antique mall. In the glass case room in the middle of the antique mall on the main floor, this first case as you come into the room has these cards from the late 80s to early 90s. These cards here look like they're priced at $5, and they look like they're 3-pocket card holders of some sort. I don't know if they were taken apart from a 9-pocket page. There you go. You can see all of that. When you go into that, make your first left turn into that case room, and this seller has all these cards here for sale. Some 1980 Donruss. There's some 1990 Topps traded sets. No prices on those. There's some vintage cards along the back there, not much. It's 1971 Jim Cott, pretty beat up for $2. $10 for that 87 Topps Barry Larkin, probably the highest price I think I've ever seen on that. Some football cards along the back here. I have not seen anything new added to this booth in quite some time. They rearranged things since the last time I was here. But I haven't seen active activity in it for quite some time. Those 3 Ray Culp cards are priced at $30. And there's some 1991 Classic Draft Picks packs for $2 each. These boxes here are empty. It looks like the 89 Fleer were $2.50 each at one time. We got some 1988 Topps rack packs. Those are $5 each. And there's a 1990 Fleer box. It looks like it's empty. They have a couple 1971 Topps cards here on the side. They want $20 for a 71 Boa and McCarver and a 76 McCarver. That seems really high to me. Here's a couple cards here. That was $6 for that John Kruk card, wasn't it? That's kind of ridiculous. Here's some Smurfs. And a pack of Elvis cards for $7.25 and Rocky 4 for $7. We got some unopened cello packs from football and baseball. I see some 1982 Fleer, 55 and 79 and 72. Again, here's some more cello packs. I don't know what the going rate for cello packs is, but none of those tempted me to get them. 86 Fleer wax box, $127. 91 Bowman Hockey, $16.50. Garbage Pail Kids, $3.20. There's an 86 Donruss box for $120 and an 85 Donruss box for $283. Some 86 Topps cello packs. And here's a stack of magazines with corresponding prices. A Dukes of Hazzard quartz watch. And there's a Beaver Stadium model priced at $66.50. This same seller has some more stuff in the front. There's some Kellogg sets down there, $105 for that 74 set and $179 for the set next to it. Bunch of buttons. And down here we have a couple baseball bats. $95 for the Williams, $50 for the Maris, and $67 for the Compliments of Washington Senators bat. I found a case selling some football cards here. 72 Topps Gale Sayers. And here's some vintage baseball cards in this booth. There's a Stan Kovaleski autograph. There's some pre-World War II cards. There's a Enos Slaughter and Al Kaline. They have some graded cards. And there are two hand-collated sets, 83 Topps for $60 and 82 Topps for $45. And you can apparently contact the seller for some other ones that this seller currently has that's not inside that case. Just down the aisle from that same case, there's a Harmon Killebrew autographed baseball for $50. Can't see the signature from where I'm at. A couple football cards. Here's some baseball cards. We got some 75s and 76s in there. A couple Louis Tiant cards. It's a 76 Tom Seaver, 75 Bob Gibson. This seller has like little write-ups for some of these cards. It's almost sort of like a mini museum, you could say. There's Alan Trammell on a Sports Illustrated magazine. There's some 1970s vintage. That Nolan Ryan card that's priced at only $4 does have a crease. Brooks Robinson, Jim Hunter, and Greg Nettles from 76 and 75. There's Billy Martin on Sports Illustrated magazines. Zoom out so that you can see what this case looks like. I found Fernando Valenzuela on a Cornflakes box priced at $23. There's a few players on some milk cartons, some Wheaties boxes. The Cal Ripken one is priced at $8. Down below, I found some macaroni and cheese boxes featuring cards printed on the back. And these things still have the macaroni in them. There's a Drake's box. I did not pick that one up to see if it still had cakes in it. There's a Hank Aaron on a cornflakes box. There's some 7-Eleven cups. Down in the basement, I found this World Series baseball for the Yankees versus the Mets. And this Orioles cup. This booth was having a 20% off sale of everything in it. And I found this other booth, not necessarily for the stuff I'm showing there, but up here in the upper right corner are some 3D Topps cards priced at $10. I guess there are just 3 there: Tony Gwynn, Bruce Sutter, and Dave Stieb. And my wife has a case at this antique mall, and we were here to fill up the empty spots in it and take some things out to move to her other antique mall. So I'm showcasing this for my wife. So if you know of anyone that is interested in collectibles of this nature, generally mostly glass, but there are a few other oddball things in there, please do let them know. My wife would very much appreciate that. It is my channel, and I can do some advertising from time to time. I don't sell anything, but my wife does. And there's some really nice looking stuff in here, and she prices things at a really nice price. So after this, I'll go over what I bought here. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed that tour of Rollermills Marketplace, an antique mall in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, located on 517 St. Mary Street. So my wife and I were there to replenish her case, and after we got done doing that, we both wandered around the store, and of course I found myself looking at the baseball cards, hence this video. And I did pick up a couple cards, 2 cards exactly from that one seller that had the old vintage stuff. And I picked up this 1955 Bowman Enos Slaughter. Pretty nice looking card. This is from the, I guess you could call it the color TV set, or I'm not sure what the vintage collectors call it. I have very, very, very few Bowman cards from the early years of Bowman. Most of my Bowman cards are, from 1989 onward, when Topps took over the Bowman name. Yeah, pretty neat looking card. The surface is nice and clean on this one. The corners are pretty sharp for how old it is. It is definitely off center. There's the back of it. There looks like there's a little wax stain down here. At least that's what I presume it is. I paid $20 for this, so I was happy to pick that up. It's glad to see that this seller is continuing to add cards to his case. Some of the other sellers in there, once their cards have been all bought, they're not really refilling them with too many more. Now this one's an old one. I have very few cards from before World War II, and or before 1950, I should say. And I think this is my second oldest. I think I have a 34 card somewhere that I bought that I'll showcase in my eBay video coming up. Not sure when I'm going to get around to filming that, but I did buy a Gaudi card that is a miscut, and it's the oldest miscut in my collection. But I saw this one there. This is 1935 Diamond Stars, Joe Cool. He was a player that played from 1930 to 1947, mostly for the Senators and the White Sox. He did have over 2,000 career hits and scored over 1,000 runs and 1,000 RBIs, so he wasn't, he was a star back in the day, but I don't think very many people remember him today, because this was so long ago. You'll see it has some interesting little printing orbs up here, which also caught my eye. Rather big ones, I'd say. So that's kind of neat to see. So we got printing orbs back in 1935, and a whole bunch of them going through the 60s and 70s on many of the Topps cards, and even into the 80s, and I think I've seen some from the 90s. Not sure if they've ever fixed that problem, because I haven't seen any modern cards, to my knowledge, that have this neat thing where there's some little bit of debris that ends up on the printing plate that makes these little funny orbs, or whatever you want to call them. This is the back of the card. This was produced by the National Chicle Company in Cambridge, Massachusetts, back in 1935. I believe this set was issued over a couple years. Don't know much about the set, to be honest. This is definitely out of my collecting knowledge scope, we'll say. But definitely saw this there. It has a little bit of dirt down here on the border. But for how old this card is, the corners actually look really, really good for something this old. I was expecting to see some really dog-eared corners, as they say, well-rounded ones for cards of this age. That seller also had a couple other cards there. Didn't recognize too many of the players' names, but this one I did recognize. My knowledge of baseball from that far back, I'd say, is not the best. But I do remember a few names as I, have combed through my old baseball encyclopedias back in the day. Now we're mostly using Baseball Reference. But, everybody knows the Babe Ruths and Lou Gehrigs, but occasionally I dig a little bit deeper and dig out some of the other names of players from back in those days. So that was a nice pickup. I paid $30 for that. I thought that was probably a pretty good price on that. And the last thing I got was this 7-Eleven cup of Greg Luzinski. This was priced at $4.75. Here's the back of that cup with the 7-Eleven logo up here. A little blurb about Luzinski. Let's see. Last season, he hit .281 with 18 homers. I should have did this before I started filming. But this'll date it. That was the 1972 season. So this cup came out in 1973. Pretty cool. I don't think there's a date on the back. No, it just says Amico. Made in the USA. Little dusty on the inside. I don't plan on ever using it to drink out of. But Greg Luzinski was one of my favorite players watching while growing up. Really hated it when he went to Chicago. Wish he'd stayed with Philadelphia, but it is what it is. That was a long time ago. But I still, I didn't get to see him on TV anymore when he went to the American League. Since I was living in a National League city of, Philadelphia, we rarely saw American League games, except for the occasional one that would be on one of the major networks, I would say. But the local stations, it was just Phillies games, so all we ever saw were National League clubs almost all the time. So definitely missed seeing him go away, but he was one of my favorite players growing up. And one of my collecting memories was finding his rookie card at a baseball card show. I forget the name of the place, but it was on Bustleton Avenue in Northeast Philly. And I picked that up for I think $2 back then. I don't actually think it's worth too much more than that these days. I think a lot of folks have forgotten about Greg, but I will always remember him. 1980 World Series, late 70s. He put up some really decent hitting numbers, and then took advantage of the DH when he was with Chicago. So that's all I got at Rollermills Marketplace in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Beep, beep.